Okay, fine. So let's start our class with a very beautiful lines here. Life is either a great adventure or nothing. So guys, today we'll cover two uh, portions. So in first, we'll talk about the principles of quality assurance and quality control, and that too with reference to food analysis and testing. So guys, again, this is a very, very basic topic. We have read a lot about food and microbes and how to control those microbes, right? And also schedule for sanitary and hygienic requirements. So all these things. So basically, this is again, you will see there's a bit repetition. So guys, so let's begin with food quality control. So let's see what it basically means and how food business operators are implementing the quality control mechanisms whenever they manufacture any food, right? So to begin with, food quality refers to the characteristics of the food that are desirable and acceptable to the consumer. It can be physical, chemical, or sensory. So as you all know, guys, I mean, food is a very delicate item, right? So and also consumers, they love to eat or they prefer eating the food which is of high quality. So it can be either its physical appearance, which can add to the quality of the food, or its chemical composition, or its sensory properties, that is aroma. So consumer nowadays, they are very much aware of all the nutrients, of all the food quality parameters, so they prefer high quality food. So that is where the food quality comes into picture, right? So now various departments, as I said in one of my lecture, that majority of the food business operator, it's mandatory for them to have a quality assurance laboratory in their manufacturing unit, so that they can conduct the testing of the samples at various stages, right? Beginning from the at the time when raw material reaches their factory, and then after processing it, and then after storing it, and also before sending it to the market. So at different stages, quality assurance parameters are monitored by all the quality assurance officers which are appointed by those companies. So if you see what quality control basically means, so it is used to predict and control the quality of processed food. So as you know, majorly processed foods which are available in the market in packaged form, so all the food business operator and also FSSAI, they want that food should be safe to the consumer. So in order to do that, the quality control is a very, very important step. So every batch of food processed by a company should have achieved the quality standard set by it, or quality should always be consistent. So as you know, for example, Maggie, right? So Maggie, if you see, its quality has been consistent, right? There has no change in their standards or in their quality parameters. Like from years, their taste is similar, their hygiene is similar, right? Everything. So, this is what the companies try to achieve in the quality control, so that even after like 50 years their product should taste same, because that Maggie has already penetrated in the market, and that taste has, it has just we have imbibed that taste, right? So now even if you have eaten Maggie like 10 years back, and also if you eat today, so taste is almost similar, right? And also from the quality point of view. So that is how these companies, they try to maintain their image in the market by ensuring that they provide proper quality food, and also to achieve the consistency. And if you further see, quality control is used to predict the quality of the processed food, then control the process so that expected quality is achieved for every batch. So if you see, guys, quality control, if you break these two words, quality means, the processed food which is available in the market, that should be of high quality. And companies, they predict such quality, that this is the quality which we want to give it to our customers, right? So then the control, then if you see the control, it is nothing but the expected quality that is achieved for every batch, right? For example, FSSAI, it has released various sanitary and hygienic requirement for all these manufacturers. and even at various stages. And also FSSAI also recommends various HACCP guidelines and other standards for manufacturing at manufacturing units, or I mean be it retailer shops. So everywhere everything is standardized. So the basic thing which FSSAI wants is nothing but quality control, right? So this means that quality specification must be written and agreed with supplier and seller, and control point must be identified in the process. Yes, so this is what FSSAI is doing. So they have written, I mean, each and every document is available, right? If you talk about FSSAI Act, it has certain guidelines, standard specifications for how the food must be controlled, how the FBOs must be controlled, even if they are doing the adulteration, what are the guidelines, what are the punishments, right? So each and everything is written down in these documents. And also, if you see, it must be agreed by suppliers and the sellers. So all these quality control parameters, even FSSAI in its documents, they by that I mean on timely basis they keep releasing their various documents, be it their regulations, be it their rules, right, or be it I mean any other document which can help these FBOs to ensure that safe food reaches the consumer. So now these and it's mandatory, almost mandatory for all these FBOs, so that they can ensure safe food to the consumer. And how they can do it by implementing those standards, so that they can have control points. As I said, during manufacturing there must be particular control points, that this is the stage where microbes can grow. So now at that point of stage in during manufacturing, the FBOs, they take utmost care. And another stage, for example, the another control point can be during storage. So storage place should be hygiene. It should be, if the food requires proper temperature, it should be stored at that particular temperature. And other guidelines, I mean, it should the storage space should be, it should have proper sanitary conditions, it should have proper hygienic conditions. So all these control points are introduced at various stages, so that the chances of contamination or the adulteration can be minimized, and high quality food can reach consumers. So now let's talk about the purpose of the quality control. So if you see, the major purpose is to protect the customers from dangers, example, contaminated food, and ensure that they get the weight and the quality of the food that they pay for. I mean, yeah, this is very, very basic. If you see, if you understand why FSSAI wants to implement the quality control, as I told, to protect the consumer, to provide them safe and wholesome food, right? So, and also, if you see here, so that they get the proper weight, I mean, the food, proper quantity of the food, and also quality of the food which they pay for, right? So all the products that you buy from the market, they are available at certain price, right? They are not available for free. So every consumer wants that they get the value for their money, right? So this is one of the major point why quality controls are implemented in manufacturing units by various FBOs, and also to protect the business from cheating by suppliers. And yeah, I mean, second point is also self-explanatory. For example, a food manufacturing company, for example, if they are manufacturing biscuits, they might have various suppliers, right? Someone would be supplying them the wheat, another would be supplying them some dry fruits, I mean multiple ingredients, right? Sugar, salt. So also this quality control, whenever any raw material come from this supplier, right? So at the very first stage, there is a quality control, there is a quality check for all these raw materials that enter into the manufacturing unit, right? So that it can help the businesses to protect themselves from cheating by any supplier, so that these suppliers are not mixing any adulterants or any contaminants into those raw materials, right? And further, if you see, to ensure that food laws operating in the country are complied with. Yeah, this is very, very important. If you see, major reason why quality control, as you know, quality control parameters, these are introduced by uh, I mean, food bodies, right? Food regulating bodies. In case of India, it's FSSAI, and at international level, it is Codex, right? So now these quality control parameters, they ensure, I mean, all these food laws, they ensure that all the laws are complied with, so that safe and wholesome food can reach to consumer, right? Now, if you see, guys, how food analysis and quality control are interlinked. You remember we have done various food analysis techniques, basic techniques, then advanced techniques. So now you will see how they are interlinked, right? So quality control includes evaluating an activity, a product, a process, a service to determine if the end results are satisfactory or not. So if you see, guys, here, as I told you before as well, so quality control is nothing but the testing of all the parameters, all the raw materials which are entering into the manufacturing unit, all the processed food, I mean all the cooked food. When it gets cooked, what's the quality parameter of that food, and also during storage, what's the quality parameter. So this is how, I mean, quality control is done with the help of food analysis techniques. So I'm sure you all remember various food analysis techniques. So this is how these are interrelated. So majorly these food analysis techniques, they ensure that quality food reaches to the consumer and the food is safe from all the contaminants, all the adulterations, all the microbial contamination majorly. Right. So quality control is a food processing system that begin right from the stage of production till the stage of sale and distribution. Yes, as I told you. So quality control cannot be just stopped after checking the raw material. It should be at every stage. I mean, from the stage of raw material till the stage of processing and up to the stage of sales and distribution, and also when it reaches to the consumer. So these all are the parameters or all the stages where quality control is important, very, very important, so that health of a consumer can be maintained. Right. So now if you talk about production stage, so during production, whenever the raw material comes into the manufacturing unit, so during production stage, how these, I mean, different parameters can be tested and how they can be avoided. So if you see during the production stage, the use of pesticides, fertilizers from plant foods, and veterinary drugs and hormones from animals must be controlled. So I mean, these are the few parameters which the laboratories or the guidelines by FSSAI or the normal good practices which are followed in our manufacturing unit. So they ensure that the any plant material where pesticides or fertilizers are used, so they are ensured that those levels are very, very minuscule, right? So that even if we consume that food, it does not harm us, right? And also in case of veterinary drugs and hormones for animals, for the meat eaters, when the meat enters into the manufacturing unit or the processing unit, so it is ensured that hormones and drugs which are given to these animals for their proper growth or for their better health, these drugs, whenever we consume, it does not enter our body and it does not harm us. Also, quality is very important during harvesting and storage of the harvested product. Yeah, I mean, ultimately from the harvesting, whenever the food is harvested, and even when the harvested food is stored, even when that time the quality parameter plays a very, very important role. So then comes the processing stage. So after raw material is sorted out, after it's cleaned, washed, and all the parameters, if those raw materials match all the parameters, they have passed all the standard laboratory tests, so then it goes to the processing stage. So if you see, guys, during the processing stage, use of HACCP approach or the GMP can ensure quality. So if you see in Indian scenario, because majority of the food businesses here in India, these are small manufacturers, right? So they do not they majorly adhere to the GMP practices, because HACCP is for the bigger units, right? So the smaller unit, FSSAI wants them to implement good manufacturing practices at their manufacturing unit. So during and also I told you GMP is nothing but all the sanitary and hygienic requirements which are mentioned in the Schedule 4. So FSSAI wants that during processing stage, all those guidelines which are given in Schedule 4, they must be implemented by these FBOs to ensure food quality control. So then comes the distribution stage. So improper distribution of the product also affects the quality of the finished product. The condition of the transportation and storage of the food, like temperature, humidity, is very important. So guys, I think this is again self-explanatory. We have been talking a lot about these points in our previous classes as well. So during transportation also, the food should be stored at proper temperature, it should be stored in sanitary condition, and also it should be protected from temperature abuse, right? So all these parameters again play very, very important role during distribution, because as and when those microbes or those viruses, if they get the environment which is suitable for them, they will grow in their number, right? And they can destroy food. So during distribution state also and during transportation, it is ensured that those unwanted microbes or unwanted contaminants can be avoided. And care should be taken by retailer to see that the food is not held beyond its shelf life. Yes, again, it's very, very important. And protection against insect, rodent, extraneous matter is also essential. So now, I mean, this is again a self-explanatory. All the retailer shops, for example, if you go to your local shop guy or if you go to supermarket, so they have been given clear instructions by the FSSAI. They should not hold the food beyond their shelf life. If the shelf life is over, either they should return it to the manufacturer or it should be destroyed, right? And also during the storage, the insects, rodents, and stainless matter, it should be checked for, right? I hope guys things are clear and I am loud and clear to you. Just give me thumbs up and then we'll talk about food quality assurance. Okay, thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you for confirming. So, I mean, these are very, very basic. Even if you don't specifically read about this topic, and even if any question comes, you can easily attempt, right? I mean, these are general things. That is why I told you, like, whoever framed the FSSAI syllabus, things are very, very repetitive, right? So now let's talk about food quality assurance. So now food quality assurance and food quality control, there is a very thin line in these two statements. So if you see, I mean, in food quality control and in now we'll talk about quality assurance. So there is a little bit overlap, right? So now if you see, if you put it in simple words, assurance of the quality encompasses a series of planned steps necessary to provide business with confirmation of expected quality from their product or services. So guys, again, this is nothing but certain guidelines, certain standards which must be followed by this food business operator so that they can assure that the quality that which they predicted during the manufacturing and also the quality that they planned to maintain during different stages, be it processing, be it preparation, or be it the transportation, whether those parameters were successful at the end of the day, right? So that is what is known as quality assurance. So quality is a popularly defined as getting things right the very first time, thus helping companies avoid any flawed products during the manufacturing or development phases and launching product of the finest quality. So again, I mean, there is very, very thin line between these two definitions. So almost these are same, but only quality assurance is nothing but, I mean, this is again to, it assures that, yeah, the parameters that we use to control the quality, those were successful. And it plays a vital role throughout the phases of the designing, development, manufacture, installation, services. So whenever any food business operator, they design or they set up their food manufacturing plant, so all these parameters play very, very important role. The type of utensils they use, again, I think we read this is in our schedule 4, right? FSSAI has given clear guidelines how the flooring should be, how the doors should be, how the ventilation system should be in any manufacturing unit, how the ceiling should be, right? So all those, designing parameters, all installation parameters, all the equipments that are used for manufacturing the food, and I mean, all those various parameters, right? That is those are implemented in order to ensure the quality, that is known as quality assurance. Quality monitoring and assurance thus helps maintain consistent quality while generating considerable saving in cost and time. Yes, definitely. Again, guys, if you see here, so I mean, if all these are sorted in first place, right? You have proper design, you have proper installation, you are using proper utensils, you are using proper manufacturing guidelines which are provided by FSSAI. So then you can avoid, all the penalties which might come during food audit, whenever any audit comes to you, or whenever any food surveillance is conducted in your manufacturing unit. So that could help in saving cost and time. And also, I mean, you can be consistent player in the market. Customers can trust you that you are the player who provide, I mean, consistently good food, high quality food, right? So all this plays very, very important role. So now, guys, if you see here, these are various points. So this would help you to understand the type of samples they are analyzed in quality assurance program. So whenever any quality assurance program is planned, so small samples are taken at every step. So if you see during raw material stage, so critical questions which one must ask during, planning their quality assurance program. So whenever any raw material is tested, so first question that the food assurance officer, quality assurance officer, he must tick mark is, do they meet your specification? Because at the beginning, every food business operator, they have various specification, food specifications, right? So whether those raw materials, whichever the raw material you are procuring, whether they are meeting the specification as your company guidelines, or do they meet required legal specification? Will a processing parameter have to be modified because of any change in the quality? Right? Are there the quality and composition the same from the previous deliveries? How does the material from a potential new supplier compare to the current? So all these factors, these ensures the quality assurance, because majority of the time the company might be changing their vendors or their suppliers from whom they are procuring the uh, all the raw materials, right? So they have to ensure that all these critical parameters in case of raw material are met, right? So now moving ahead, when it comes to the process control samples, so during this time, whenever the food is being processed, so the various questions or the various parameters which must be kept in mind is, did a specific processing step result in a product control of acceptable composition or characteristics? Does a further processing step needs to be modified to obtain final product? Again, I mean, if you see here, the uh, here if you see though, so in process control, they want to ensure that the proper quality control parameters which were designed for this process, whether they have been successful, right? If you see here, does the further processing need, so does it need further processing, or it can be if in a single processing only the desired results are obtained, the desired product is obtained, right? And further finished product samples. So if you see the various programs, various steps which one must follow is, does it meet the legal requirements? So this is very important. And what's the nutrition value? Again, I mean, in finished product, so what all the nutrition value that you have promised to your consumer? So whether your finished product has those nutritive values in that food, right? And so that the label information can be developed. Yeah, I mean, depending on this label information is developed, and then the consumer buy those products. Next, does it meet product claim requirement? Again, I mean, for example, if you see the foods, for example, foods for special dietary use, right? Or your I mean, health supplements. So they have to have certain claims. If they are claiming anything, so they have to take FSSAI. They have to follow the FSSAI guidelines for that, right? So does it meet product claim requirements? So the end product, is it meeting those claims which you are claiming? Right? For example, the some of the food they sell it as sugar free or zero oil used. So all those claims which are made, right? As I said, low fat. So are your products, adhering to all those standards? Will it be acceptable to the consumer? Will it have appropriate shelf life? So all these parameters must be ensured whenever the finished product sampling is done, right? So now, guys, that's it. Quality assurance and quality control. So you just need to have a basic idea, right? So what these parameters means, and I'm sure once you read the complete syllabus, once you read completely the FSSA Act or your you can say Schedule 4, you can easily answer the questions from this topic. And questions, if at all it comes, it would be very, very basic, right? So now, guys, so now we'll talk about the regulations. So today we'll talk about the Organic Food Regulation 2017. So you remember I have talked to you about Javik Bharat. So this is one of the initiative of the FSSAI, right? So Jaivik Bharat, if you remember, so this is the logo which is provided for the organic foods, right? So now here we'll talk about the various regulations. So guys, now if you see, FSSAI has an act. So in that act, FSSAI has given complete guidelines to all the food business operators, right? So now, apart from that act, FSSAI also they release regulations and various rules. So these regulations they are up to date. I mean, this is a fast changing world, right? Food industry is changing very fast. So in order to match those changing standards, so FSSAI they keep releasing various regulations, various standards, right? So if you see this regulation for organic food, so FSSAI they wanted to regulate the organic food market, right? As I told you, organic food is highly in demand in foreign countries and also in India. So that the consumer does not get cheated, so that the normally treated food are not sold as organic food to those consumer. So FSSAI thought will regulate it. So they provide certain certification. So this is the Jaivik Bharat logo, which should be available, or uh, which should be present on all the organic foods, right? So this regulation, if you see, it came in 2017. So now we'll talk about the regulation. So guys, I hope you have these documents. You can access these documents. These are available on FSSAI website, regulation documents. In case you don't have or you did not manage to get these documents, so I'll attach this document. So this is nothing but the FSSAI regulation for the organic foods. Right. So this is just the Hindi part. In case you want to read it in Hindi, you can do that. But we'll discuss it in English. Right, so just a minor adjustments I'll make so things are clear to you. Yeah, so guys, important thing which you should read in these regulations. I mean, all the regulations, right? So initially, you can just skip this part. This is not required. Just remember the year, right? So as you see, it's written FSSAI regulation. Yeah, it's mentioned here, right? FSSAI, that is Food Safety Standard Organic Food Regulation 2017. So just remember this, in which year it was released and what it is called, right? So this is what you need to remember. And again, I mean, these definitions, I'm sure you have read about these definitions in FSSAI Act. So you need not to repeat this, because at the beginning of all these documents, all the regulation documents, if you see, there are certain definitions which are given. So either you can skip it or just give it a single reading whenever you read. Right. So the important point in this regulation which you need to go through is these 2 points, point F and point H. So if you see NPOP, you remember we spoke about the NPOP program. So all the organic foods, they need to have a certification. So certification, for that certification, they need to register themselves with the NPOP program of the Government of India. And the another program is PGSI, that is Participatory Guarantee System of India. So all the food business operators or all the farmers who sell the organic food, they need to register them with these organic certification providing bodies, so that there they can use that Jaivik Bharat logo, and they can also have a supporting document, supporting certification, which ensures that, yeah, that their food is really organic, right? So NPOP, guys, this is important. So if you see National Program for Organic Production, it means a program of Government of India. So it's a Government of India program which provides an institutional mechanism for implementation of national standard for organic production, right? As I said, NPOP, it's again, it's provided by APIDA. I am sure I taught you when we read about APIDA. So in APIDA, you remember we spoke about NPOP. So NPOP is a Government of India program where it ensures that the national standards. So APIDA has formed various standards. Even FSSAI has given various guidelines in this regulation. So it ensures that the national standards of India. So all the organic foods, they adhere to all these national standards, and also with a third party certification control system as notified by Director General of Foreign Trade under Foreign Trade Development Act. So as I told you, not only the logo, not only the standards, they also have to have a certification. All the organic foods must have a certification, right? So this certification is provided by third party. Third party is, I mean, any private body, right? So third party certification is very, very important, and it is provided by only those bodies which are notified by Director General of Foreign Trade. So he is the individual, or he is the officer who is responsible for qualifying or finalizing this third party certification, third parties who provide the certification for the national standards, right? And yeah, I mean, just read the definition what organic food means. So it means food products that have been produced in accordance with the specified standard of the organic production. So this is important, this definition is important, and NPOP is important. Then the certain second important thing is PGSI, that is Participatory Guarantee System of India. So as I told you, there are two programs from which certification can be obtained. One is NPOP and then is Participatory Guarantee System of India. So it means a quality assurance initiative by Department of Agriculture Corporation and Farmer Welfare, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, Government of India. So again, this is specifically provided by Agriculture Ministry. So PGSI, they again they ensure that the product which claims to be organic, they but in order to in order to further make that claim robust, there should be a specific assurance, there should be a third party certification. So again, I mean, here if you see, they operate outside the framework of third party certification. So here third party certification is not required. So here the certification is provided itself by the Ministry of Agriculture, right? So these are the three important points that you need to remember, right? So this is where any question can come. Right. Then moving ahead. So if you see, now, I mean, again, these are very, very basic things, but I'll explain you point by point. So now, if you see organic food labeling and certification. So now we'll talk in detail how organic food must be labeled, right? How the certification, kind of certification that must be provided. So if you see manufacturing, selling, and packing of the organic food. So how this food must be packaged, or who must sell this food. So if you see, no person shall manufacture, pack, sell food for sale or market, otherwise distribute or import any organic food unless they comply with the requirements laid by these regulations. So no one should sell organic food until and unless they comply with all the requirements which are laid in these points. If you see, there are certain labeling requirements, there are certain applicable systems, certain certifications. So until and unless they have all these, they meet all these requirements, they cannot sell the food in the market, or neither they can import from outside India, right? They cannot import from any country organic food only until and unless they meet all these requirements. So if you see applicability of the system, so as I told you, the organic food offered or promoted for sale shall comply with the applicable provision of one of the system. So as I told you, there are two type of systems, right? That is NPOP and PGSI. So organic food must comply either of these. It should not comply with both the standards which are given in both of these bodies, but they should adhere to at least one, right? They should either be registered with NPOP, or they must be either registered with PGS India, right? And also any other system or standard led by FSSAI. So not only these, but also, as I told you, FSSAI, they keep laying down new standards, new regulations. So they should also adhere to all these latest regulations and standards. Right. Then the second point, the organic food, which is marketed through the direct sale by the small original producer organization as determined by the FSA from time to time to the end consumer, shall be exempted from the provision of the system. So guys, very, very important. This is the type of questions which FSSAI would ask, because this is an exception. Now, who need not to have these certifications? So if you see, the small farmers, the small organizations which sell the food directly to the consumer. For example, if you go to supermarket, or if you go to local sabji mandi, right? So in those sabji mandis, if any person is directly selling the organic food to the consumer, so they need not to have these certification. But the bigger units who are selling it at larger scale, or who are exporting this product to the foreign countries, or who are also importing this product from the foreign countries, So they need to have this certification. And FSSAI has clearly mentioned small original producers like small farmers who are farming and directly selling it in the sabzi mandi. They need not to have this NPOP. They can directly go and sell to the consumer directly, right? So this is exception. So remember, point two is very, very important. So then comes the labeling. So in labeling, if you see what kind of labeling should be done on the organic food, right? You would have seen in the market, you get organic sugar, you get organic salt, you get organic, I mean, you just name, there are thousands of organic products which are available, right? So if you see the labeling for the organic food, the labeling on the package of the organic food shall convey full and accurate information on the organic status of the product. Such product may carry a certification of the quality assurance mark of one of the systems mentioned in the regulation 4, in addition to the FSSAI of India organic logo. So if you see in labeling, so in case of labeling, they are saying that the foods which are available in the market in the superstores, they should have either one of the certifications. As you know, here I told you the farmers who are directly selling the food product, they need not to have these certifications, but the big units, the big food business operating units who are selling these products on a larger scale in the supermarkets, so on their packets those labels must contain one of these certification along with India's organic logo. Organic logo is nothing but Jaivik Bharat logo, right? So organic logo is nothing but Jaivik Bharat logo, guys. So guys, in case anyone you have any doubts, so just approach me after the class. I'll clear all your doubts, right? I mean, I am trying to explain it in very, very simple terms, right? So second point, all organic food shall comply with the packaging and labeling requirements specified by Packaging and Labeling Regulation 2011. And guys, just remember, apart from this specific labeling, which is for the organic foods, the food, organic food, they must also adhere to the packaging and labeling regulation of 2011. So we'll talk about this also in detail because now regulation topics have started. So within coming days, I'll also talk about packaging and labeling regulation 2011. So in that also we'll do it in detail, right? So that is what FSSAI is saying. Apart from this specific labeling from the organic products, the organic product must also adhere to the packaging and labeling requirement of 2011. So now comes the traceability. So traceability shall be established up to the producer level as applicable under the system mentioned in the regulation 4, and it should include any other requirement prescribed by FSSAI to maintain organic integrity of the food. So guys, traceability is nothing but see, whenever any food business operator, they want to apply for this certification to this NPOP or PGSI. So during that time, they have to submit various documents. For example, if any farmer is claiming that his vegetables are organic, so he has to submit various reports, various lab reports, ensuring that no chemicals were used in his soil during manufacturing. So that is what is traceability. So all those documents must be maintained by the PGSI scheme or NPOP scheme or those bodies, so that whenever they want to trace, whenever if any consumer makes any complaint against them, so they can refer those documents and they can trace it, whether the claims which were made by the FBO, whether they were true or not, right? And they can be only verified or traced if they have a traceability record. And in this case, the traceability record would be the laboratory documents that he submits, right? Further, if you say requirement to comply with the provisions of other regulations made under the Act. So without prejudice to the provision of this regulation, all organic food shall comply with the provision as applicable under the FSSAI Food Product Food Relative Regulation. So guys, if you see here, not only to these regulations, as I told you, they should these all the organic foods, they should also comply with the other regulations, that is packaging and labeling regulation. Then comes the food standard food relative regulation, then contaminant toxin residue regulation, and I mean all the other regulations, for right. So don't worry, we'll read about all these regulation in our coming lectures. And also these are very, very easy. Even if you give a single reading, things would be clear. And don't worry, I am here to help you. right? So display, guys, this is very, very important. So whenever organic food is displayed, so now FSSAI has clearly said the seller of organic food, either exclusively or as part of their retail merchandise, shall display such food in a manner distinguishable from the display of non-organic food. So now if you go to market, if any farmer claims, or if you go to supermarket, you would have seen there are separate sections of organic food and there are separate sections of non-organic food. So why they maintain such separate sections? Because FSSAI has clearly said that consumers should not confuse themselves with the non-organic food. So they should be kept on a separate shelf. They should be kept in a separate section of organic section, organic food section, right? So that there is no misunderstanding. So their displaying is also very, very important. So now comes the import and reciprocity. So whenever, if anyone wants to import, so what are the standards, what are the guidelines for the importers who want to import the organic product? So if you see import of the organic product, the organic food importers under bilateral or multilateral agreement on the basis of the equivalence of the food of the standard between NPOP and the organic standard of the respective exporting country shall not be required to recertified on import of the import to India, subject to their compliance with the provision of the Act, rules and regulation and thereunder. So guys, now what they are trying to say in this point is, you know, in India there are two programs, NPOP or PGSI, right? So now if any importer, he wants to import organic products into India, and the country from which he is importing, if that country is also implementing the similar program like NPOP, right? For example, every country, they have their own standards. And also if you see, now the codex come into picture, because codex makes food standards for international, at an international level. So now if anyone wants to import organic food from Canada, so if Canadian government, they have also implemented the similar program, similar NPO, similar program like India, that is NPOP program. So if that country is following the similar guidelines, so whenever any food importer imports that food, they need not to recertify it, right? They just need to get those documents from that foreign seller, and they can produce it into the, they can produce it to the FSSAI, so that FSSAI can allow the selling of these organic products, right? So second point, the organic food consignment referred. So yeah, as I told you, the food consignment, this food consignment which enters India, it shall be accompanied by a transaction certificate issued by the accreditation certification body covered under the terms of equivalence agreement. So now whichever body they go to this multilateral or trilateral agreement, so they just need to have a transaction certificate. Transaction certificate is nothing but the certificate, I mean, uh, whenever any business dealing happens, right, there is a transaction, there is an invoice that is generated. So that invoice, because if you guys are working professional, you might be knowing, on invoice there is something known as HS code, right? So from HS code, it can be clearly distinguished which product falls under which category. So whenever anyone is importing, so this transaction certificate or the invoice is very, very important. So this act as a copy, or this act as an assurance that this food is organic and it can be sold in the market. So if you say, this regulation was passed during Mr. Pawan Agrawal's time, so he was the CEO at that time, right? So now CEO of FSSAI has changed, right? So that's about, guys. So this is all, I mean, you need to know in this regulation. So yeah, I hope things are clear to you, right? So if you have any doubt, guys, so you can just WhatsApp me, but I tried to explain you things in very, very easy manner, and I'm sure things are clear. So just remember the important points in FSSAI organic regulation, and also quality control and quality assurance. Don't go in depth, just, I mean, basic, you need to have an idea, right? Right. So guys, question, I mean, you cannot predict the type of questions which can be asked from this topic. You just need to go through these documents, because this is one of your important part. But yeah, last year in mains, I remember there was a question, 15-mark question in mains, because last year the mains question was, the paper was subjective, right? So 15 mark question was asked from this regulation, FSSAI organic food regulation. So the guys who just remembered all these points, important points, they could easily secure 15 marks, right? So this time just go through these documents and just be ready. Whatever question they ask, you should be ready, right? And yeah, question would be easy, guys. There would be direct copy paste statements, and once you just read those statements from all those four options, you would be able to answer, right? Yes, guys, this time both the papers are mostly as per the CBT1 notification. CBT1 and CBT2 both would be objective. Last year the CBT, the paper 2 was subjective, but this time FSSAI in their notification they have mentioned it would be CBT, computer based test, right? So guys, thank you so much. So we'll meet tomorrow with another regulation. I hope you enjoyed the lecture, right? And also guys, there would be soon tests which would be launched for you guys, so you can just appear in that test and evaluate yourself, right? So I'll share the details tomorrow about that test. So again, there would be a single one final test for all of you soon. So you can, just I'll give you some time once we finish the syllabus, and mostly syllabus would be finished within this week. So you can just take 10 to 15 days, then you can appear for final result, final exam. So the guys, the test which I would be taking, that would be in a, it would be CBT. It would be similar to the exam that you go and give on the examination day. So I'll share the link with you how to enroll for that, right? So you guys just can go and register yourself and appear for the test, right? So don't worry, I'll share the details tomorrow, right? So thank you guys, thank you so much. See you tomorrow then. Good night, study well, study hard, take care. Bye guys.